You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level. Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Hello and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live. Our show is all about hope, inspiration, and stories of overcoming adversity. Today, I have a special guest with me, and I want to wait no longer to bring her on. Her name is Dr. Sue Cornbluth. Let's take a look. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn is pleased to welcome Dr. Sue Cornbluth. She's a national parenting expert in high conflict divorce and parental alienation. She is a regular contributor as a mental health expert for network television stations including NBC, Fox, and CBS. Welcome. Hi, Dr. Sue. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. How are you? And thank you so much for having me on today. Such a pleasure to be with you.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. It's such a treat to have someone who's so accomplished and who continues to give back and help people in really high conflict areas that bring so much stress to people's lives. So you're doing a phenomenal job. You're just an incredible human being. So thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. You just blew my ego right out of the water right there. I appreciate all of that. The work that I do is very challenging, but it's also very important. There are millions and millions of people all over the world who have gone through these horrific high conflict divorces. And who gets hurt the most in them is the children.
Right. It's incredible. And what I'm wondering is, you have so many accomplishments. You have a doctorate in psychology. You have so much education. Can you share with us where this all started for you to go down this path to where you are today?
Yeah. So do we have 6 hours? No, I'm kidding. I can do it in about 4 minutes. So yeah, I have a doctorate in clinical psychology. So that's where my formal training is, but I am not a psychologist. I didn't choose to go down that path. I really didn't want to in the beginning. I felt, for me, I was much more of an educator, somebody that wanted to be hands-on in helping people and give them tools and action plans to move them through life. So I did a lot of different things in the beginning of my career. I taught for many years at Temple University. In the psychology department. And I loved doing that because I loved educating young minds and getting them to think about more than just learning from a textbook, but learning about life in general. I did a lot of work in child abuse early on and foster care. And during that time too, my work was very well known for helping children heal from abuse. And I did a lot of commentary for very big high profile cases in the country, such as Jerry Sandusky case within Penn State. I was one of the lead people doing commentary on that. I was with NBC 10 here in Philadelphia for about 5 to 6 years as the mental health correspondent. And along the way, I also worked doing counseling, but then something changed for me where I was asked to be involved in a case to be a consultant where a child was being used as a pawn between to parents in a divorce. And I had not known anything about that. In my doctoral program, I had 2 tracks, however, that I was studying. One was child abuse and the other was divorce.
Wow.
Well, now today I have, fused those 2 together. And I couldn't bear to watch and see what was happening to these children, and also how these parents were behaving towards each other, and that they didn't recognize how the way they were communicating with one another and fighting each other was destroying this child. And so that really spoke to me more than anything that I was ever involved in. And so I decided from there that I was going to make that my life's work. And I went and I got certified in a specific training in California as a coach to help families going through high conflict divorce and parent alienation. And what parent alienation is when a child is used as a weapon by one parent to hurt the other. And so I got trained in that and certified in that. And then I started my own company and practice called Dr. Sue and You. And within our practice, we now have 3 people that work under me. And we are the only place in the country that does work with these individuals in the way that we do it. Now, I'll get to that a little later, but going back to when I got involved in that, I had written an award-winning book, but that was when I was involved in foster care, and that was building self-esteem in children who went through foster care. And then when I got into the divorce element of my work, I had made a YouTube video series, and it's called Parenting Beyond Trauma. And it took off in a phenomenal way. And it was because I had read so much about what other experts were doing in the field, in theory, but nobody was hands-on working with these individuals, these parents who are hurting and want to get back to their children. So I built my practice from there. And then I had a podcast that was very popular out of Atlanta. It was on a network called Stream City, where all I talked about was parental alienation and high conflict divorce and how to get you through that. And that took off. And then I am now here in Philadelphia on 860 AM WWDB. And I have my own radio show on there, it's Dr. Sue and You. It's called Real Divorce Talk, but that's going to be switching. We're switching it all up now into something new that's in the works. And also, I have a show on RVN TV, which is also called Dr. Sue and You. But everything is about moving people through divorce and becoming who they need to be and surrendering to their own pain, because it's very important that if you want to get anywhere in life, especially in relationships, that you do self-work on yourself. It is in every area of your life. So that's me in a nutshell.
That is in a nutshell there.
I also have a husband, 2 wonderful kids, a dog, a very fulfilling life. But at the end of the day, this has been my mission. And I am so blessed, really, to have been working with so many amazing people who are doing the work to put their families back together.
I imagine the work that you're doing has to be so gratifying, because you're literally changing people's lives. I mean, you think about the number of people we know who get divorced, and children are used as pawns all the time. It happens. I also read that you are in a documentary that's coming out on Amazon. Tell us about that.
I am. It's very exciting. Yes. So over all these years, I have actually been just waiting to use my voice in a big way to get the message out to the world about really what is going on in divorce and with the children that are suffering from divorce. So there is a documentary that will be coming out after the first of the year. It will be on Amazon Prime, and it is called You Will Not Die from Divorce.
I love it.
Right. And I was very fortunate and honored to be one of the experts who was interviewed in this. It's a 4-part documentary. The guy that's doing it, he's phenomenal. He's won award after award. And it's not about being in the documentary that is very important to me. It's about the information that people going through divorce are going to get so they feel as though they're not alone in what they're going through. And it's good tips and tools so that you can lead your life in a different way than you have already. So, I mean, that was just an incredible experience, and I'm just blessed to be a part of it.
It sounds like an incredible experience. And Dr. Sue, I'm wondering, you mentioned you have 3 other individuals who are working for you in your practice. I would think the number of people who need your service has to be, it's such a huge number. So how do you actually determine who you're going to work with?
Well, that's a great question, and we're busier than ever, as you can imagine, because when people learn about us, they get very excited because they say, oh, we wish we found you 10 years ago. But it's never too late to start this process of getting involved and helping yourself. So within our practice, we have a mindset coach, Jason Blau. He's unbelievable. And he helps people coming in that need help. As you can imagine, Jacalyn, people that are struggling with this, they are in such panic and fear, and that's the beginning stages. But if you're coming from a place like that, you need to do the work on yourself to get grounded, to do the work to reconnect with your children. So we have him. And then we have Dr. Amy Moore, who is a relationship specialist, and she works with you to get you to a place where you can forgive yourself for your role in all of this, teach yourself self-love, because a lot of times people coming out of divorce, they don't have self-love anymore. The person that they were in the marriage, and then this horrible divorce happens, they become a completely different person out of it, and they need help to get back in touch with themselves or become someone new who is healed. And then it's me and my associate who's been with me for years, Ashley Gamey, who we work directly with them to coach them on how to use language and tools and techniques and strategic planning on how to open up that door with their children. We also have different programs now because we've gotten so big with the amount of clients that come to us on a daily basis. So we are now going to be opening up our doors to a new support group for people to join. We also have an online program where people can get help from there as well. And before COVID had come, we were going to have our first retreat, but we had to shut that down because of COVID, but we plan on doing that again, or doing some of them virtually. But between the 4 of us, we try to give people what they need. And, you know, for us, it's really about changing their lives and taking them from being in a place of pain to a place of healing and reconnecting with themselves before they can reconnect with their children.
Well, we are certainly blessed to have you in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area. So I know myself, having been divorced since 1999, I really was a totally different person then than I am now. So I can't even imagine what it's like when there are children involved. So thank you again, Dr. Sue. We're going to give the phone number for people to call in. It's 631-730-5468. Again, 631-730-5468. We are going to take a commercial break and stay with us on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn live on Business Talk Radio, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. We'll be right back with Dr. Sue. Located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey, is Margie Cedrone, artisan jeweler. Margie's been in business for more than 30 years. She works with her clients to create custom pieces of jewelry to reflect their personality and help them make their own bold statement. Starting in the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia in 1988, Margie works directly with her clients to develop one-of-a-kind pieces such as necklaces, engagement rings, wedding bands, unique watches and tennis bracelets, as well as a myriad of rings and earrings for everyone in your family. She also has worked directly with Dr. Jacalyn over the years, creating unique pieces of jewelry to reflect her personality. She does pearl stringing and repairs on site at 121 Haddon Avenue. Call or text Margie at 215-384-7155. Margie Cedrone Jewelry is open by appointment only. Make your own bold statement.
Have you just lost your job or have been laid off and you are looking to transition to a new job or career? Maybe you have even tried submitting tons of applications and yet you keep getting turned down for jobs you qualify for. Don't wait until you become overwhelmed with rejections when you can easily transition or get your dream job. Let MJW Careers guide you to the right career path and a better, brighter future. At MJW Careers, we know what hiring managers are looking for, and our goal is to land you the job you deserve. What makes MJW Careers a wonderful provider over other services is our pragmatic and scientific approach to resume writing. There are rules, there are visual cues, there are content best practices. We understand those and work within the boundaries to ensure our clients' messaging appeals to the decision makers. Our career consultants will help you transition into new roles quickly and effectively. With our experience in virtually every industry, we will provide direction in the frustrating job market by helping you write a customized, professional resume and prepare you for your interview as well. Join the great number of people we have helped scale up to greater things in their careers. Let us help you on your career journey. Come visit us, www.jobstickers.com, to learn more and grab a free resume review or ebook.
Stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hi, welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn live here on Business Talk Radio, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. I am here with Dr. Sue Cornbluth, who is a nationally recognized expert in the area of high conflict trauma with parenting, as well as with divorce and child trauma. So, Dr. Sue, I am still overwhelmed by all the things that you are doing. It's like enough for 5 lifetimes.
I know. Well, I hope I live a long time. Maybe I'll try something else. No, I'm kidding. I mean, you know what it's like? You have to create balance in your life. I think that's very important. in anything that you do. And I think sometimes we're all guilty of not doing that a lot of times. And when you don't, especially as a business owner, you can get burnout. But if you're doing something you're very passionate about, it doesn't often feel like work. And for me, this isn't really work. I feel like what I was meant to do is to heal families. I've been doing it a long time, and I think we're doing it pretty good. So
it sounds like it with the way you've expanded. It's amazing. And I'm wondering, Dr. Sue, what have you found during this pandemic? Are families coming closer together on average from what you're seeing, or are they pulling further apart?
I think families in general who were healthy to begin with are still thriving, okay? Meaning that it's good now in a way that they also came to a realization that they're going to be able to spend more time together that they were not before. I see that a lot. I see that even within my own family, okay? That we spent a lot more time together than we did before because we were always running. So that's one thing. I think for families that were not doing so well, it has led to that continuing to go down a dark path. And unfortunately, when you have stress and anxiety before something tragic happens, when a tragedy happens, it goes up here. So because of the pandemic, and especially with divorce, it's been very difficult for a lot of people to communicate. They weren't communicating before, but with the pandemic and not seeing their kids and how the courts want things to be during the pandemic, it's really put a strain on families in general. And because of that, the divorce rate is so high right now.
Sad.
Yeah, sad. It's sad, but there's hope. I mean, I think, the best thing that you can do in these situations is really learn to take the high road.
Well said.
And think about it like this, that you have a family, you were a family, you're just a different kind of family now. And if you choose to put all your anger towards your ex, you're not thinking about your children, all right? You're thinking about destroying somebody else who is the parent to your children. And your children don't want that. And it's not serving you either because it's causing you more and more anxiety. So there's two words that we really go by: compromise, communication, and one more I'm going to add in: consistency.
The 3 C's.
The 3 C's. And if you take the high road and you can actually, practice that within your life, most times you're not in these situations. And that's how you also get out of it. But nothing changes in life if you don't work on yourself. Nothing.
And we find, at least in my practice, people just want to wave a wand and expect things are going to change, but you have to do the work.
I had that this morning with someone. He's only had 1 week of help from us, and he thinks everything's just going to magically transform. And I had to explain to him, this is a process. It's a process of looking at yourself. It's a process of self-examination, which is very different than self-criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when we self-exam, we accept. When we self-criticize, we blame. And Jacalyn, isn't it much easier to blame somebody else than looking at ourselves?
It certainly is. That is for sure. And I'm wondering, Dr. Sue, if you can quantify this, but how often is it where you're working with a couple who is dead set on getting divorced, that they change their mind and actually go down another path?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, I don't usually work with couples. So we work with individuals that are in, that are getting divorced, but sometimes I have someone that is in a divorce, is contemplating divorce. Okay. So I'm glad you asked me that, because this brings up a case with me from this week. And I'm talking to my client, and I had to pause for a minute. And I said to her, do you think that you have any role in what has happened, in what is going on here with your husband? And she paused for a minute, and she said, but he's doing this to me. I said, that's not what I asked you. It's the way you interpret and listen and take it in. I said, do you think that you have any role in what has happened here? Because a lot of times in marriages that are falling apart, maybe somebody has 80% of the change to do. But the other party holds 20% or 30% or 40%. It takes two people to not be able to communicate and listen to each other, not one. When I kept asking her that, tears started to roll down her eyes. And she began to admit that she had made mistakes in the marriage. For one, it was that oftentimes she would belittle him. She would put him down. And he was trying to give her so much. Maybe he didn't give her the right color sweater on her birthday, but he was trying to give, and she was just rejecting and rejecting and rejecting him. Well, after a while of being rejected so much, then he turned into this angry person. But she had a role in that. Look, we all have roles. We have mistakes. We all come from the environment in which we were raised in.
Right.
And because of that, sometimes we don't even recognize or know what we're doing to another person. So this is a human being that has now, she's not sure if she wants to leave the marriage or not because of that conversation we had last week. And I think, and I believe that every person in a marriage has to do their work. Marriage is hard work. And if you both want to come together, you both have to look at yourselves in what you have contributed to get to the place you are to even want to have a divorce. And I think a lot of marriages, Dr. Jacalyn, can be saved that way.
That's fascinating. I want to hear more about that. And then I also want to share something, a client that I have, I think it might fit in really well with what you're doing. But we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Dr. Sue here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our ministry alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, your executive producer and host for Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn here on Business Talk Radio, Facebook, and YouTube. My guest today is Dr. Sue Cornbluth. Dr. Sue, thank you for staying around through the break. It's good to see you.
Thanks. Good to see you.
So I wanted to go back to what we were talking about in terms of the pandemic and how it's had an effect on relationships, increase in divorce. I have a client whose parents are going through divorce, and through the number of sessions that we've had, I've tried probing, as to how this person's doing in reference to the divorce. Oh, everything's fine. 1,000 fines, fine. Only to find out that nothing is really fine. And the reason I bring this up is, I'm sure you see this all the time, is that the child, I guess, doesn't know how to express themselves. Maybe they have fear of saying something that one parent or the other is going to get mad at them. What has your experience been with this?
Well, first of all, the word fine, you know what that really means? I need help. That's what it means. I actually despise that word because it's not a feeling word. Okay. And that's what it means. I need help. Now, the problem, yes, there's tons of fear. First of all, a child, I don't know how old this person is, but they're afraid that if they speak up, their voice will not be heard anyway. That what they have to say probably doesn't matter because their parents probably have dismissed their voice so many times. So we find about children from divorce that don't have much connection with their parents as they get older in life. It's because their parents didn't validate them, hear them, or see them during the divorce because they were so caught up in their own pain. Now, parents, they have a right to be caught up in their own pain, right? But if you don't get help to deal with that pain, there are consequences of that in the end that you may not realize. And one of them is pushing your children away because you can't be present for them. But kids do a very good job of holding in their feelings. They don't want to rock the boat. They may feel some of it's their fault. And they recognize that their parents are under so much stress already, they don't want to cause any more of it.
So many emotions. I'm wondering, where is that line if you're a parent in terms of taking care of yourself, acknowledging your own feelings, doing your own work, and then the work that you need to do and the what you have to give for your child?
That's a great question, but I'll tell you this. You're not going to be able to ever give to your child in the way that they need it if you don't do the work on yourself and give yourself compassion and self-love from what happened within the marriage and after. The only way that we can really give to others in a healthy way is if we give to ourselves. It's the best answer I can say. So you really have to work on yourself. You have to go deep within yourself. You have to look at the mistakes that you made and take responsibility and own them. That's where growing comes from. It's hard work, but the people that are able to do that end up having healthy relationships with their children and also with their exes.
Interesting.
The ones that don't do the work on themselves continue to live in the same cycle and pattern of anxiety, anger, depression, and that's not a good place to be.
No, definitely not. And Dr. Sue, what happens if only one of the two parents is actually doing the work? How does that impact the child?
Well, that's a great question. So what I say is if one parent is doing the work, and you can have a tremendous impact on your child just by you doing the work, because as you're doing the work on yourself, you're going to learn how to talk to your children differently, how to hear them, how to see them, and your child will open up to you because they will receive that from you. You also, if you want to build a bridge with your ex and you're the only one doing the work, you can still do that. Now you're probably wondering how, but you do it by stepping up and taking the high road. And if your ex is coming at you and belittling you and sending you text messages that says things like, you're disgusting, or you're this, or you're that, because that happens all the time.
Yes.
You don't have to reply back in that way. You have choices, and you can make a choice whether you want to engage in that trauma or not. If you make the choice to write back and call them a name too, you're making a choice to engage in that drama. We all have choices. If you make a choice to write back, I'm sorry you feel that way, what time will you be picking up Billy tonight? That's another choice.
Yes.
And so, yes, one person can change a dynamic of a relationship. Whether it holds or not, that's a different story. You know, you can only change yourself. You cannot change other people, but you can change the way you react to people to get different results for yourself.
So well said. It sounds like if you're in a pattern of ineffective behavior, you have a choice that you can decide that you're not going to stay on this journey and you're going to change your own behavior.
You got it. Bam. Yeah. I mean, that's not just in divorce, that's in every relationship.
Absolutely.
And if you show up differently, a lot of times people will show up differently too.
I've noticed that during this pandemic, people have made, I'm not going to generalize, but I'm saying people I know have either gone one way or another. And the one way is they're looking at this as an incredible opportunity to work on themselves and to grow as a person. And other people are just playing the blame game, victim, woe is me, and how did I get like this? So I know that we both do work to try to help people find the first person in themselves, right?
You nailed that, Dr. Jacalyn. You nailed it. I find the same way. People are taking this as an opportunity to really work on themselves or grow, or they're taking the opportunity to self-destruct. And that makes me so sad, because do you see this too? There's some people that were doing really well, and then the pandemic hit and they're miserable, they're angry, they're cutting people out of their lives. It's horrible.
It's very sad. It is. But they're making that choice.
That's exactly right. That's a choice.
It's a choice. So, Dr. Sue, our show is all about hope and inspiration and stories of overcoming adversity. And this is what you do day in and day. I think your days are filled with like 10 days in one day. But what would
I sleep great at night.
Because you're doing incredible work, so I would think that you are.
Thank you.
What would you say to people who are listening or people who are watching and they're thinking, okay, right, this all sounds great, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do.
Great. So start here with you. It's the only place to begin with. Do a self-examination of yourself, your emotions, where you really, really are. Get authentic with yourself. It's really hard to do. Don't self-criticize, self-examine. It's completely different.
I like that.
And when you get real with yourself, take a first step. When you're in pain about anything, I don't care if it's divorce or whatever, you need help to get out of it. Professional help. Because nobody can be objective on their own lives. I can't be either. Even though I do this every day, when I go through something within my own life, I'll reach out for help. And that's the first step. And then grow from that. Connect with yourself. What I really focus on is hope and becoming. In order to become different, okay, you have to surrender. That doesn't mean you wave a white flag and you say, I'm done, I quit. You have to surrender to yourself, get real, and feel your own pain. I know it's difficult, but when you can do that, and when you can begin to self-love, then you become a healed human being. And what ends up happening is people around you are attracted to you more.
All excellent points. I just want to share that I have been taking meditation teacher training certification, and I've taken this vow of no killing, no stealing, and no lying. And it's a lot of work. And by the way, no killing means no killing bugs or anything. But the thing is,
I was concerned there for a minute. I was like, what?
And the bug thing is hard, right? Because I'm down at the store and there are bugs everywhere. But the point is, it's such an incredible feeling to look at yourself and say, you know what, there's something about this that I'm attracted to. It's going to be hard, but I think I'm going to be a better person for it. And so I stay disciplined to it. And I'm hoping that other people out there will realize that you can make a change if you are open to doing it.
It's all about choice. We have choices. The people that are not open to looking at themselves and doing the self-work, they're going to be stuck. They can't move. Nobody can move. The people that are going to grow. And what ends up happening, Jacalyn, is that when you're in a relationship and somebody's doing work to grow and the other person isn't, you can't meet.
Right. It doesn't work.
It just doesn't work after a while.
It doesn't work.
No, I mean, yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I'm
No,
done.
no, I was going to say, you have so much to offer. I'm just wondering, are you taking, you and your practice, are you taking any new clients?
Yes, we are always taking new clients.
Okay.
Because we do have 4 people now that work with us, and for me. And yes, we are taking clients, and we find ways to help whomever we can in the best way possible.
And Dr. Sue, you're in the Philadelphia area, but are you able to help people who are outside this area, around the country, around the globe? How does that look for you?
Yeah, because we're certified coaches. We work with people all over the world. We have clients in England, Australia, Spain, Portugal, and all throughout the United States. So, yes.
Wonderful. And so for our friends on Business Talk Radio, your contact information is your website the best way to get in touch with you?
Yes, through the website, or, emailing at info@drsueandyou.com.
And the website is www.drsueandyou.com. Email address info@drsueandyou.com.
Right.
What final words do you have for everybody who is out there? You've just been such a gift to be here today. So any final words?
Look, I just want everyone to know everything in life is cyclical, meaning things go like this in your life. For all of us, none of us have been untouched by something traumatic in our own lives. This pandemic is traumatic to all of us. It too will pass. But be kind to yourself every day and be grateful for what you do have, even in what we are experiencing. And if you are grateful for something every single day in your life and you say that before you go to bed, I promise you that your life will get better and better. But if you stay in a state of anger and hate and vengeance, nothing good comes to that. What you think is what you attract. And I also want to say divorce is very difficult. There's nothing easy about it, but there is a way out and through. But in order to do that, you have to go within to get out.
Thank you, Dr. Sue. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to give your contact information one more time. The website is www.drsueandyou.com. Email address is info@drsueandyou.com. Thank you for being here, Dr. Sue. I will see you backstage if you can wait around for a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. It was a great interview. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And I just want to say to everyone on Business Talk Radio and Facebook and YouTube, I really appreciate your support. I just want to share, for those of you who don't know, that I was in the corporate world for my entire career, and I decided in February to retire and go out on my own with my life coaching business that I'd already had, and start to do these shows, giving people a platform to tell their story. And I'm really excited because without any experience and by doing my due diligence, reading, talking to other people, I've been able to produce my own show and also produce my own commercials. So the point being, you can change, you can become a different extension of yourself. You can start a new chapter of your life. You just have to put yourself out there. You have to ask for help. I worked with a life coach for 9 months to get to where I am. And I think it's interesting about coaches, how we all reach out to one another because we always want to learn something new. And who better to ask than somebody who's constantly researching, studying, and working with people. So thank you for your support. We're interested in hearing your stories. If you'd like to be a guest on the program, please go to my website, drjacalyn.com. I'm also a certified life and career coach and would love to work with you. Again, go to drjacalyn.com. That is all for today. That is a wrap. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time.